Once upon a time in the ancient Nordic realm, the great gods Thor and Loki found themselves traveling far from Asgard, in Thor's goat-drawn chariot. Night quickly descended upon them, and they sought shelter in the home of a generous farmer and his family. To show his gratitude, Thor offered his goats as a meal, knowing that he could revive them afterwards, and not suffer any loss. After dinner, he laid the goats' hides on the floor, and asked his hosts to place the bones back onto the hides, after they had been stripped of meat. The farmer had 2 children, a son named Thjalfi and a daughter named Roskva. Despite Thor's instructions, Thjalfi broke one of the goat's leg bones to suck out the marrow before placing it on the hide with the others. The following morning, Thor blessed the hides and bones with his hammer and the goats came back to life. One of them, however, had a lame hind leg. Thor quickly realized what had happened and became angry with the farmer and his family, nearly killing them all until they offered their children, Thjalfi and Roskva, to serve him. Thor accepted, and along with Loki, they left with the 2 children and continued their journey on foot, leaving the handicapped goats behind. Their destination was Jotunheim, the land of the giants. They crossed an ocean and a dense forest. As night fell, they came upon a massive hall where they decided to stay for the night. In the middle of the night, they were jolted awake by an earthquake. They found a sleeping giant whose snores shook the earth. Thor, who despised giants, was prepared to kill him, but the giant awoke and seemed amused by their presence. He introduced himself as Skrimir, and picked up his glove, the great hall in which Thor and his company had slept during the night, and proposed that he accompany them on their journey. To this the gods agreed, and off they went through forests and over the hills. While on their journey, Skrimir asked them to rest beneath an ancient oak tree since he had been carrying all of their provisions. However, when Thor attempted to open the bag, he was unable to untie the knots that Skrimir had made. So in his fury, Thor struck Skrimir in the forehead, but the giant was unruffled, and only asked if a leaf had landed on his head. Thor made 2 other attempts to kill the giant, but each time, Skrimir simply asked if an acorn or some birds had disturbed him. Eventually, Skrimir left and the others pressed on to the castle of Utgard. Around midday, the travelers finally reached their destination, only to be met with an insurmountable gate and no one there to greet them. Thor and his companions, however, discovered that the gaps between the bars of the gate were large enough for them to slip through easily. Once inside, they were met with a hall full of men feasting and drinking, a sight that immediately drew the attention of Utgarda-Loki, the giant king of the castle. Without hesitation, he began mocking the travelers for their small stature. Eager to prove their prowess, Loki boasted that he could out-eat anyone in the castle. Utgarda-Loki, always one to relish a challenge, set up a contest between Loki and a man named Loki. A trough of meat was set before them, and as they devoured the delicious feast, it became clear that Loki had met his match. While Loki had only eaten the meat, Loki had consumed the meat, the bones, and even the trough itself, proving his superiority. Not to be outdone, Thjalfi, known for his incredible speed, offered to race anyone in the castle. Utgarda-Loki led him to a racetrack, where he faced off against Hugi. No matter how hard Thjalfi ran, Hugi always outstripped him, making it clear that even the fastest mortal could not hope to match the speed of Hugi. Thor, known for his immense strength and love of drink, then challenged the inhabitants of the castle to a drinking contest. Utgarda-Loki presented a drinking horn, explaining that only the mightiest drinkers could finish it in one gulp. Thor drank deeply, but no matter how much he consumed, the level of liquid in the horn seemed to never lower. In the end, Thor was unable to complete the challenge, much to his chagrin. Embarrassed and frustrated, Thor then attempted to lift Utgarda-Loki's cat, but found himself unable to do so. In a fit of rage, he challenged anyone in the castle to wrestle with him, only to be bested by an old woman named Ellie. It seemed as though Utgarda-Loki's subjects were all superior to the mighty gods, humiliating them at every turn. After the failed challenges, the company stayed the night, gathered their things and prepared to leave the next morning. Once outside of the castle, Utgarda-Loki revealed the truth behind the contests, explaining that everything had been a trick to deceive them. The meat-eater was none other than fire itself, the racer was thought itself, and the drinking horn was connected to the sea. Utgarda-Loki's cat was the Midgard serpent, and Ellie was old age personified. Thor, filled with rage, raised his hammer to attack Utgarda-Loki and destroy his castle, only to find that there was no giant or castle to be found, just a vast, empty plain. Fuming, the travelers left the area, never to return. It was a humbling and eye-opening experience for the proud travelers, reminding them that even the mightiest beings could be fooled and bested. And so, they continued on their journey, wiser and more cautious for having encountered the cunning Utgarda-Loki. And the tale of their encounter would be told and retold, a cautionary reminder of the folly of underestimating the power of illusion and trickery.